Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we uncover the hidden gems inside your pocket change. Today we're diving deep into the world of Australian 50-cent coins, and believe it or not, some of these shiny pieces are worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. We'll be counting down the top 3 most valuable 50-cent coins ever released in Australia, explaining exactly why they're rare, how to identify them, and what collectors are paying for them right now. So grab your magnifying glass, check your coin jar, and let's see if you've been spending a small fortune without even knowing it. And before we jump in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest coin value updates and rare finds. Let's get started. First up, the basics first. The 1976 50-cent coin is a dodecagonal, 12-sided cupro-nickel coin featuring the Stuart Devlin coat of arms on the reverse and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. The Arnold Machen portrait was used during this era. Physically, it weighs about 15.55 grams, measures roughly 31.65 millimeters, and is made of 75% copper over 25% nickel, a sturdy, heavy coin that's easy to recognize in your pocket. The Royal Australian Mint produced around 27.28 minus one of these in 1976, so this year is common in circulation, and most examples you find will be regular strikes rather than rare commemoratives. For the majority of 1976 50-cent coins that are circulated and average grade, the market value is usually close to face value plus a small premium. Think AUD 50 cents to a few dollars, depending on condition and the beer. In uncirculated or high mint state grades, the value rises more noticeably. Certified high grades, for example PCGS or NGC MS65, MS66 level, can command tens of dollars rather than cents. If you're hoping for a windfall from a random pocket find that's uncommon, the real money is in the unusual or error pieces. Collectors pay attention to misstrikes, broad strikes, clipped plankets, off-center strikes, and any unusual planchet weight that suggests the coin was struck on the wrong flan. Documented sales and price guides show that typical error coins from this era, depending on severity, can fetch hundreds to even more in rare cases, while some very severe or authenticated misstrikes have sold for substantially higher. The key is rarity and collectability. Subtle strike variants might add a modest premium, but dramatic misstrikes are what drive collector interest and higher prices. Price guides and auction commercial listings show a spectrum. Circulated 1976 minus 1 cent coins commonly listed at a few Australian dollars. Uncirculated certified examples listed in the low tens, and verified error misstrike pieces carrying significantly larger price tags. Online marketplaces, for example auction and dealer listings, and specialist numismatic sites are where you'll see those higher numbers. But always check provenance and certification when a listing claims a very high value. Scammers can list dramatically inflated rare values without proof. Authenticated grading and sales history are your defenses. Practical hands-on steps: start with a loop 10x and good light. Look at the coin's rim, fields, and devices for doubling, clipped edges, missing sections, and planchet anomaly. Weigh the coin on a gram scale. 15.55 grams is the expected weight, and measure diameter. Serious deviations suggest an error or non-standard flan. Check for broad strike, flattened rim, expanded design, and compare the portrait orientation to reference photos. Photograph any suspected error from multiple angles, and if you think it's important, consider third-party grading and authentication before attempting a high-value sale. For common dates like 1976, certification matters mainly if your coin is exceptionally well preserved, or is an error if you have an MS65 or better, or a visually spectacular error. A recognized grading company, PCGS, NGC, or an equivalent reputable service will help you realize market value, because collectors pay premiums for third-party authentication. For everyday coins, however, certification costs often exceed the added value, so weigh the likely sale price against grading fees. Tip: get a professional opinion from an experienced dealer before sending something off for grading. Low-value circulated pieces, local coin shops, bulk estate sales, or online classifieds are fine and quick. Higher value uncirculated or error coins use specialized auction houses, established coin dealers, or graded coin marketplaces where bidders understand numismatics. When selling online, present clear photos, list any grading or certification, and be transparent about condition and provenance. Expect experts to ask specific questions cameo, contrast, luster, contact marks, and any pattern of these. Small details influence final price. The 50-cent coin's large surface makes it ideal for design detail and for commemoratives. That's part of its collector appeal. Some years' rare mintages or commemorative issues are actively chased and have long-term collector demand. The 1976 coin sits as a staple, common enough to be acquired in quantity for sets, but interesting enough for specialized collectors who focus on errors or high grades. If you're building a typeset, the 1976 example is almost a requirement. If you're hunting profits, concentrate on high grades or genuine errors. Over recent years, collectors and news outlets have highlighted specific rare 50C pieces, misstrikes, and low mintage years, selling for significantly more than face value, sometimes into the hundreds or even thousands when authenticated and genuinely rare. These stories are a reminder that while most 1976 coins are common, rare error specimens from this period do surface and can be valuable. Keep an eye on reputable auction results and numismatic press for verified sale prices rather than social posts claiming huge values without proof. If you've got a handful of 1976 50-cent coins, lay them out, photograph them, weigh one or two, and check for obvious errors or exceptional preservation. If something looks out of the ordinary, get detailed photos and seek an expert opinion. Post them in a reputable numismatic forum or take them to a trusted dealer. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more coin breakdowns, hit subscribe, drop a comment with the next coin you want me to inspect, and smash the bell so you don't miss future uploads. Thanks for watching. Keep looking through your change because you never know what treasures are hiding in plain sight. Next up, today we're taking a long look at a common-looking coin that sometimes hides surprising value, the 1979 Australian 50-cent. To casual eyes, it's just a standard decimal coin, but in certain conditions and with the right errors, it can be worth many times face value. Stay with me because we'll cover everything: the official specs, how many were struck, the error and variety types to look out for, realistic price ranges, and step-by-step tips for checking and protecting one if you find it in pocket change. The obverse features Queen Elizabeth II, and the reverse carries the Commonwealth coat of arms, the classic Stuart Devlin design used on Australia's 50-cent coins for decades. That standard coat of arms reverse is what you'll see on the 1979 circulation strikes. Later commemoratives and designer changes make the 50C series especially interesting to collectors because there are many design variations across years. Physically, the 1979 50-cent is a cupronickel circulating coin weighing about 1555 grams with a diameter of 31.5. Amanda plain edge. It's not the older silver 50C. The large 1966 initial 50C was silver, but the later cupronickel issue used for circulation. Those specs matter when you're checking weight and dimensions to confirm authenticity. In terms of numbers, roughly 24,886,000 circulation strikes of the 1979 50C were produced, plus a much smaller number of proofs struck for collector's proof sets are in the tens of thousands. That relatively large mintage for the circulation strike explains why most 1979 50C coins are common in everyday change, while rare varieties or high-grade mint state examples command higher premiums. So what's it worth? For typical circulated examples, expect modest premiums above face value. Many price guides list typical circulated values in the low to mid-double digits in local currency for nicer pieces, and uncirculated mint state coins can range notably higher depending on grade. Graded mint state MS pieces and pristine examples trade for higher sums on auction sites and dealer lists. Example sales evidence shows raw MS coins selling for modest premiums and graded pieces for notably more. Now the exciting part: error coins and collectible varieties. The 1979 50-cent has become known for several collectible anomalies: clipped plankets, misstrikes, wrong planchet strikes, and a visually distinct double bar reverse variety, a doubling extra bar behind the design elements. Those anomalies are scarce and, depending on condition and severity, can fetch several times the normal value. Collectors particularly prize examples certified by major grading services when the error is clear and the coin is well preserved to be concrete. Typical values for a standard circulated 1979 50C commonly sit modestly above face, but documented sales and dealer listings show special error pieces selling for hundreds, and in some rare certified cases near or above the four-figure mark. For example, certain planchet-era coins graded by professional services have recorded sale prices close to $900, $1,000, or more depending on grade and the judgeable rarity of the mistake. Other rarities like the double bar mint variety have appeared on dealer lists and auctions, with wide price ranges from modest premiums for poorly preserved examples up to hundreds of dollars if choice UNC were graded and rare. Remember, prices fluctuate by platform and condition, so treat these as representative. Range is not guarantees. If you want to check your coin first, look at the reverse, close-up under magnification. Inspect the area behind the coat of arms and the emu lines for doubled bars or extra lines. Check the rim for clipping or planchet defects and weigh the coin. Wrong planchet strikes can show unusual weight or look visibly thin or mismatched. Photograph both sides in good light. And if you think you have an error, consider a reputable dealer or third-party grading service for authentication. That's the fastest route to knowing whether a coin will command a premium. Where are they found? Most turn up in change old drawers or children's piggy banks, but the error examples usually show up from estate finds or old mint sets and rolls. To protect value, handle coins by the edges. Avoid cleaning. Store in inert holders to 2 flips. Hard plastic slabbing for high-value items, and get high-value candidates slabbed by a major grading service. Buyers pay for authentication and secure grading reports. To finish, the 1979 Australian 50C is a great reminder that even everyday coins can surprise you. Most are common, but the few with clear errors or choice mint state preservation are worth a real look, maybe even hundreds or more. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you want evaluation, walkthrough, drop photos, well lit of possibilities, and I'll cover how to tell a true error from damage in a future video. Happy hunting! Check your change, you never know what's hiding in your pocket. Next up, today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of Australian coinage, specifically the 1984 Australian 50-cent coin. This coin might look ordinary at first glance, but it carries an intriguing story, unique details, and potential collector value that makes it worth more than its face value in certain conditions. So if you've ever found a 1984 50-cent coin jingling in your change, you might want to hold on to it before spending it. Let's start with the basics. The 1984 Australian 50-cent coin was struck by the Royal Australian Mint and features the 12-sided dodecagonal design that many Australians instantly recognize. It's made from 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it that classic silvery appearance. The coin weighs 15.55 grams and has a diameter of 31.51 millimeters, making it one of the larger circulating coins in Australia. Despite being common in circulation, there are still interesting details that make this particular year special for collectors. On the obverse side of the 1984 50-cent coin, you'll see the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This was one of the most iconic effigies of Her Majesty used on Australian coins between 1966 and 1984. Around her image, you'll see the inscription, Elizabeth to Australia, 1984. This design marked the end of the Machin portrait, before it was replaced by the Raphael Makhlouf portrait starting in 1985, a transition that makes 1984 coins the last of a classic era. Flipping over to the reverse side, we see the famous Australian coat of arms, designed by Stuart Devlin, a legendary name and coin design. The kangaroo and emu proudly stand beside the shield that bears the symbols of Australia's -1 states. This reverse design has been a constant feature on the 50-cent coin since 1969, and it remains one of the most beautifully detailed pieces in Australian currency history. Every line, curve, and symbol carries national pride and significance. Now let's talk about the mintage, because that's where the collector's value begins to take shape. In 1984, around 38 million 50-cent coins were produced for circulation. That's quite a high number, meaning most are not particularly rare in circulated condition. However, coins that have survived in uncirculated or proof condition, especially those from mint sets, can fetch a tidy sum among collectors. These mint condition coins are often the best examples of the year's striking quality. When it comes to value, circulated 1984 Australian 50-cent coins typically hold their face value of 50 cents, but if your coin is in uncirculated condition, you might be looking at values between $2 and $8 AUD, depending on the sharpness and luster Proof versions which were made for collectors can sell for $10 to $20 AUD or more. Graded specimens by PCGS or NGC in high mint states like MS65 or above can even reach $30 to $40 AUD depending on demand. Some coin enthusiasts also looked for errors or varieties in the 1984 50-cent coin series, although not many major minting errors have been widely reported for this year. Any misstrikes, off-center strikes, or die cracks can increase the coin's value dramatically. Unique imperfections often make these coins worth several times more than their standard counterparts, so it's always worth taking a close look under a magnifying glass. You never know what hidden treasure you might have. Another fascinating detail about the 1984 issue is its place in Australian numismatic history. It was a time of transition and modernization for the Royal Australian Mint. Technology was improving and the quality control of coins was reaching new heights. This coin represents the end of an era, the last appearance of the match-in portrait before the next phase of coin design took over in 1985. For this reason, some collectors treat it as a symbolic piece of numismatic evolution. For those building a complete Australian coin collection, the 1984 50-cent piece is essential not because it's rare but because it marks the completion of a key timeline in Australian decimal coin history, including one in pristine condition alongside coins from 1966 through 1985 helps tell the full story of the nation's currency journey. Collectors often seek the best example of each year, and 1984 is no exception, particularly if you can find one from the Royal Australian Mint's annual coin set. Before we wrap up, make sure to subscribe to our channel if you enjoy discovering the hidden value in your pocket change. We post detailed videos every week about rare and valuable coins from Australia and around the world. Don't forget to like this video, share it with other collectors, and comment below if you have a 1984 Australian 50-cent coin in your collection. Who knows, your coin might just be one of the few high-grade examples worth a small fortune.